Well, online retailers right around the world are in chaos as they try to get their heads around another decision by the Trump administration. The US president is suspending a long-running tax exemption for global retailers. Until now, goods going into the States worth $800 or less weren't being taxed. This so-called de minimis exemption is being axed on August 29. Products will now get the tariff associated with their country of origin or a duty that's ranging from $80 to $200. While the end of this tax exemption is forcing some retailers here in Australia to reconsider their investment in the United States market. One Brisbane-based brand, Apero, has just made the difficult decision to halt shipping to the United States. Its co-founder, Laz Smith, says that they've been struggling to get information about how these tariffs are going to be applied, including from Australia Post, which they use for postage to the States.
It's tough to make a decision such as stopping to make sales in that particular market, especially when it represents a third of your overall revenue. But in the end, I don't think it's worth the risk of just saying we're going to ship things and hope this is going to work and whatever. I think that reputational damage would far outweigh the lack of revenue we may see in the short term.
Now, for more on this fast-moving story, I'm joined now by Kate Muth from the International Mailers Advisory Group. Kate, thank you for joining me from Washington.
I'm glad to be here.
So what sorts of chaos is the end of the de minimis exemption creating for global mail and postage networks?
Yes, it is a bit of a chaotic moment here. Part of the issue is that their postal operators will have to collect and remit the duties, or have to use a carrier to collect and remit the duties, transportation carrier or a qualified party. But there's still a lot of uncertainty around who these qualified parties are. A lot of uncertainty among the postal operators on how to collect and remit the postage duties. So I think you probably have seen that some postal operators have announced that they will suspend transit mail, which is a type of mail where postal operator in one country will use the services of another postal operator to send it on to the final destination. For example, maybe the Philippines Post uses Australia Post to send mail to the United States because Philippines has low volumes and/or infrequent flights. So they'll use Australia Post to send it on. So Australia Post has announced that it has suspended transit mail that contains goods, so transit mail with packages as of today, at least August 20th, today here in the U.S. And there is a worry that postal operators will stop all packages through the postal system to the United States come August 29th because there's so much uncertainty about how collection and remittance will work.
So, Kate, a lot to unpack there. So, firstly, as you've noted, it's unclear how these tariffs will be applied or collected. Do we know if it's the receiver of the packages that pays this duty now? Is it the sender, so the retailer potentially? Is it the US? Who collects this cash?
So how it is, at least through the postal system, will be that the executive order has set up a mechanism because at the moment, coming in duty-free, $800, so much that goes through the postal system is less than $800 coming into the U.S., so hasn't really been an issue to collect duties and taxes. So the way the executive order is set up is that the transportation carrier will have to collect and remit. So they will collect from the postal operator, who presumably will collect from the online retailer. There's also a mechanism by which a third-party provider, a qualified provider, so maybe a technology company or a solutions provider, can collect from the postal operator. Again, this is just the postal channel, but ultimately the online retailer will presumably have to pay the duties and bake that into the overall either product cost or bake it into their shipping costs. And because it will have to be paid before, there will no longer be what's called delivery duty unpaid, where you collect from the recipient, from the consumer here in the United States.
So is the likes of an Australia Post, are they set up to do all of that at the moment, or is this something they're having to learn on the fly?
So that's why we're seeing some of these, some of the posts. No, Australia Post is not set up to do that. So they obviously have to work with either an airline carrier who is willing to do that, and we have not heard of any airline carrier that's willing to do this. They really don't have the mechanism to collect and remit. So there are, the hope is that some of these qualified third parties, these technology companies, will be that intermediary that can collect and remit to the United States, to Customs and Border Protection. But, just in the last 24 hours, 3 or 4 European posts have said they will have to suspend packages via the postal system to the United States on August 23rd. Post Europe, which is a consortium of European posts, has said if they can't get the systems in place in the next few days, they'll probably have to shut off. The postal operators will have to temporarily suspend packages through the post to the United States as well. So a lot of uncertainty, a lot of concern about the postal stream being heavily impacted, and just a little over a week to get ready. And I think there's an outside hope that maybe the effective date could get pushed back, but I don't think I would bet on that. It seems like August 29th is the date that this will take effect.
Well, Kate, thank you so much for your time. A developing story here. We'll stay in touch in the next week as August 29, that de minimis exemption ending, comes into play.